Greetings and what up, guys? Today we are talking about debatably the king of all compound. Where's your sword? Guys, in the main quest video I clearly asked you to bring a greatsword. Alright, here you go. Well, come on, take it. As I was saying, today we are talking about the mother of all compound lifts, the squat. Now, this is by no means a comprehensive squat tutorial, okay? That would take more time than I've got in this video. However, we are going to take a look at one specific element of the squat, and that is going below parallel. Is it safe? Should you do it? Should I do it? Should he do it? Why doesn't everyone do it? That's what we're here to find out, my friends, so accept the quest, and let's go. Okay guys, now before we go in game, I want to touch on why squats are the best thing since save points were invented. The reason compound lifts are so great is because you can put more weight on the bar and they involve more muscle groups than isolation exercises. Now with squats, obviously you've got your legs, your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, but keep in mind your abs and your lower back are also working to keep you balanced and stabilized. And if you're maintaining tightness like you should be, you've got your shoulder blades pulled back, your elbows tucked in, and your hands gripping the bar as tightly as you possibly can. So this brings in your forearms, your upper arms, and your upper back as well. All the more hypertrophy, my dear. The more muscle groups, the more hypertrophy. The more hypertrophy, the more skill points. Quick disclaimer before we head in game. Today we're heading to Skyrim and I'm gonna be in vampire territory. Listen, do not try this at home. I do not recommend this unless you are a vampire lord such as myself. Alright, with that out of the way, let's log in. What you're looking at right now is the Castle of Harkon, Archlord of the Vampires. And I want you to pay special attention to the gargoyles that he has guarding his castle. You're probably asking yourself, why would he choose these specific gargoyles to guard his palace? Now I think the answer can be found when you look at the relationship between the crease in their hips and their knee joint. As you can see, his hip crease is more or less lined up with his knee joint. This position is called parallel. Now breaking parallel is when your hip crease is just below the top of your knee joint. Now before we can talk about why squatting past parallel is good for you, let's take a look at the alternatives, the quarter rep and half rep squats. The biggest reason that you see so many people in your gym squatting halfway down and then going back up instead of going all the way down past parallel is because of the myth that squatting past parallel is bad for your knees. Now this extremely prevalent, extremely false myth can be traced back to a man by the name of Dr. Carl Klein, who conducted a study in the 1960s in which he looked at two groups of people, a group of lifters and a group of non-lifters. Now he concluded that there was more laxity or looseness in the knee joints of the lifters than there were in the knee joints of the non-lifters, and therefore he issued a blanket statement that no one should squat past parallel. Now I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but it was a very poor quality study in which he was clearly just confirming his bias against squatting past parallel. The truth is that your knee has four main ligaments, and because of the structure of your knee, it is strongest in two positions: full extension and full flexion. Now full extension would be when your knee is completely straight, like when you're standing, as opposed to full flexion, which would be when your hamstrings are basically touching your calves. Consequently, the exact same position you're in when you squat past parallel. So what you should really do if you actually want to put your knees in danger is squat halfway down to about 90 degrees, stop, reverse the motion under load where your knees are at their weakest point, and stand back up. That sounds familiar. Ah, that's a half squat. The truth is that squatting past parallel, assuming that you have the mobility to do so, actually reduces the shearing forces on your knees and puts them in a much, much safer and stronger position, in addition to strengthening the ligaments themselves. The other big problem with half or quarter rep squats is that when you're only going through half of the range of motion and stopping and heading back up, your quads will get stronger, but your glutes and your hamstrings will hardly be involved at all. Now this is inevitably going to lead to muscle imbalances, which are almost certainly going to be bad for you. However, when you go through the full range of motion and squat past parallel, you recruit more of your glutes and your hamstrings, and that way you get a balanced development between your quads and your posterior chain. Now, for my third example, I'd like to cite babies. No, seriously, babies. You find babies in this position all the time, and while I'm not suggesting that you should do everything that a baby does, I've seen some babies do some pretty nasty stuff. If it is so natural for a baby to occupy this position, maybe it's not quite as dangerous as Dr. Carl Klein would have us believe. As a final point, squatting through the full range of motion, which means squatting past parallel, is significantly harder than squatting halfway down. I mean, think about it, you're going twice the distance with the same amount of weight. This means more time under tension, more muscle fiber recruitment, and therefore more overall hypertrophy. So, what does that mean for us? How do we take steps towards squatting past parallel? First off, you're gonna have to suck it up and reduce the weight. Now look, I get it, we've all been there. We like putting as much weight as possible on that bar and having people watch us squat. But like I said, going from a partial squat to actually going through the full range of motion is almost like an entirely different exercise. And you're not gonna be able to handle the same amount of weight as you were on your half and quarter rep squats. Now, even though we might have to lower the weight on the bar a little bit and take a few points out of strength, we're going to reassign those points into agility by increasing our mobility. Now, I don't have time in this video to go over all the different possible stretches and mobility routines that you could utilize in order to increase your flexibility and range of motion. Rest assured that we will cover these things in the future, but for now I can say look at your hips, look at your hamstrings, and look at your calves. Especially for people like you and me who probably sit around playing video games way more than we should, those tend to be the spots that cause us issues when we're trying to squat. Keep in mind, guys, there are two situations in which you probably should not squat past parallel. One, you don't have the mobility. If that's the case, guys, don't even worry about putting weight on the bar. Just use the empty bar, grab a kettlebell, or just do bodyweight squats until you're comfortable going past parallel consistently and with proper form every time. You also probably shouldn't be squatting past parallel if you have some kind of previous injury that causes you pain when you do so or inhibits your ability to squat in general. If that's the case, I can't diagnose your situation over the internet, so please go see a physical therapist or a chiropractor or a doctor or someone who is actually certified to deal with your situation. Alright guys, time to turn in that quest. Now, if you gain some experience points or maybe even leveled up, feel free to leave me a like. And if you want to come along on the next quest, subscribe and join my party. Until next time, Mulatto Rants, logging out.